Hi, good day. This is grade 12, exam 2019, paper 2, and this is question 9b. Right, so what do we have here? We have an x and a y axis. They say this C and A are 2 points on the circle. AB is a tangent to the circle. So let's just do this now and just put some color into this. Okay, there we have AB. And they say that's they're at a point on the circle, and that point A is 5, the x is 5, and 3 is the y. So we have that point, then they have this equation of the circle here on top. That is what they give. We have to find C, so here's C, and we have to find the length of CB. That's it. That's what they have. So that's CB. The C we have to find. So let's just do that. X and Y we need. And then we have to find the length of CB. So let's see what can we do. So we have this A over here. We have the circle. So we have the equation of the circle. And we have 1 point on the circle. So I'm just seeing how do we find the coordinate of x, or x and y. Why I say x is because y is 0, because this is on the x-axis. So we can already wipe that out and put a 0 over there. So we have the y. So I'm thinking of using the circle and then substituting this 0 into the y, and then only x will remain. So let's see if we can do that. So I'm going to use a circle and use this formula over here. So the circle's formula, that is x squared plus y squared minus 6x minus 4y plus 8 equals 0. We add that point x and 0. Just show again. So this point, so we need the coordinates of C. That's the first one. But we know y is 0 because this is on the y-axis. Sorry, this is on the x-axis. And if a point is on the x-axis, then the y coordinate of that will be 0. Right. Excuse me. So let's put this 0 wherever we see the y, and let's see if we can calculate x. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to say y. So put the 0 squared minus 6x minus 4 times 0 plus 8 equals 0. So this gives me x squared. 0 is just 0, so that basically cancel out. This cancel out, that gives me 0. So we sit with this. This is just factorization from previous grades. If you do the factorization, you'll get something like that. Let me just remove this here. So x minus 4. So x minus 4 equals 0. Or x minus 2 equals 0. Then you'll get x equal to 4 and x equal to 2. So that's 2 points that they have. X is 4 and x is 2. Let's see what can we do with that. We need C. So what is C? So we have a 2 and we have a 4. So clearly that is a 2 and that is a 4. It makes sense on the axis. So we can take that out and just say the x is 4 and the y is 0. So now we have that, and we can just put this in here, 2 and y, just in case we need it. But let's just keep it in for now. All right, so now we've found point C, which is 4 and 0. Next up, they ask, what is the length of CB? The length of CB. So where do we start? The first question now is there some type of formula that we can use for length? So I'm just looking at the exam information sheet. No, it's not something we can use. So maybe another thing we can do, if we can find B, so let's see if we can get the X and a Y, because if we can find B, then that point is 4, and whatever that point is, that distance between that will be the length. So for example, if this X is 7 and this one is 4, then that length will be 3. It's not 7, I'm just making an example. So okay, so we're going to use that. So let's see if we can find point B. Now to find point B, it would be great if we had the formula of this line over here. Of course, if we had this formula, because keep in mind this y is also 0 because the y is on the x-axis. So if we have a formula, and in the formula we would have m and we would have c, so we have two unknowns, and if we can substitute the y into there, then we can find the x, and then that is complete. So that's the root. So now the next step is to see if we can find the formula for AB. So so AB, let's just put it separate. So we need, let's say, formula for line AB. Our formula is y equals mx plus c. And we have that point over there, 5 and 3. So let's see if we put in, so y equal to 5. So we have this point A, which is 5 and 3. So if we put y equals to, not y equals to 3, is y equals to 3, and mx is 5. So that's not going to work at this stage. So we still need m or we need c. So what I'm looking at here now is this part over here. We need a c or we need a m. And if we get one of that two, then we can find c, and then we have the formula. Now just keep in mind, just to bring you back, we need the formula of this line, because if I can get that formula, substitute that point in, and the 0, then we somehow we can get x. So I'm after this formula, but now we're stuck here because we don't have a gradient. So now let's see if we can find the gradient m for line AB. So here's AB, we need this gradient over here. So what is the gradient? Because if we can find the gradient, then we can find C, then we have the formula. So let's keep in mind, they give us the circle formula. So if they have a formula of the circle and we restructure it properly, just walk with me here, then we can actually find the center of the circle. I'll show you now. And if we can find the center of a circle, and remember AB is a tangent, then there's a rule that says a line that goes, draw it properly, a line that goes through the center, meet the tangent over there, then that the gradient of this line times the gradient of, let's say, the other one. So this will be gradient of AB. That will equal -1. So if we can find the gradient of this line, rechange it, and then we have the gradient of the green line, and then we have that in the formula. So let's see, can we find the gradient of the circle? But remember, not the circle, the gradient of this yellow line. So, because we can just repeat again, if we can find the gradient of the yellow line, then the inverse of that gradient will give us a gradient of the green line, and then our sum is near completion. But remember, we have a circle, And if we, so a formula of the circle, and if we have a formula of the circle, we can find the center of the circle. So my next focus now is to see if we can find the center of the circle using this formula here on top. So let's start with that formula, same formula. So x squared plus y2 minus 6x minus 4y plus 8 equals 0. So the rules say if we have something like this, x, I think it's x minus a squared plus is it y minus b squared? So, yeah, something like this, whatever the answer is, then this a and b, that will be the center. So what I'm going to try to do is to redo this formula here on top so that it looks something like this here at the bottom. Because if we can do that, then we have that center. And keep in mind, if we have the center, we have 2 points. That means we can find the gradient of the circle. And once we find that, then we find the others. So let's focus on this now. So let's see how we can redirect this. So I'm going to keep the x's together. I'm going to group it so that it looks something like that at the bottom. And you see, put the plus over there, put the y squared, keep that y together, make that also a bracket, equals, I'm going to move that 8 to the right. Okay, so I have that. It's going to look something like that. I have this part, which we hope is going to give that. And then we have whatever number we have there. So we'll get to that now. The focus is only to see if we can change into this. Because if we do, then this A and B, that two numbers will give the center of the circle. Right, so let's see what can we do. So we need something that looks like, they call it the root of a square. So root of the square is what we need. So to get from there, we just say, we use the x and just put the x over there. I'm going to divide this 6 by 2. It gives me 3. And just put the minus in there. If I do that, the answer, the question is what's going to need there, and it's a plus 9. So if you just do normal factorization, so that I just, for now, just remove this 2 on top here. So if you do normal factorization, then this part over here will factorize into this. So that is what we need. And if we do the right side, we're going to have plus y. So that's going to be the square. That is where I'm after. Y squared. And that is going to do the same. 4 divided by 2. It's 2. And just put the minus over there. And that's it. So that's the left-hand side that we have. So just to repeat again, what I showed you now is just how to get to this part. I just took the 6, divide that by 2. I have a 3. But because of that, minus 3 times minus 3 gives you plus 9. On this side, we have 4 divided by 2 is 4 divided by 2, it's 2. And minus 2 times minus 2 gives you plus 4. So now I'll come to the top now. The sum is not complete yet on top. But what I just want to show you now, here we have a minus 3 and there's a minus 2. And what is the rule? If you have something like that, then the center will be only the 3 and the 2. Remember, we have this, only the A and B. So now we have the center. But let's just complete the sum in case you need this type of question in another sum. So again, that is how we got the 9. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Minus 2 times minus 2 gives you plus 4. And you will always have a plus over here. And that will always be a square. If you factorize this here, you'll get x minus 3 squared. If you factorize this here on top, you'll get x minus 2 squared. You can look at my factorization. It's in one of the earlier grades. But I'm sure you know it by now. But now just keep in mind, you just do this. There's a equal to minus 8. So all of this equal minus 8, but we have now included this plus 9 over here, and we've included this plus 4. So we've added now a plus 13 to the sum on the left, and if we do that, we must add that plus 13 to the sum on the right side as well, just to keep the equation the same. Now if we do that, the minus 8 and plus 13 gives you 5, and this is now the complete formula of the circle. Right, so the formula now is x minus 3 squared plus x minus 2 squared equal to 5. So that is the formula of the circle. So now it's a bit neater. So now, like I said, we have this 3 over 2, and that 3 over 2 is what we're going to put in here. 3 and 2. So that's the center of the circle. Right, so now we have the center of the circle, excuse me. We have this center over here. And because we now have 2 points, this point, let's call it point O. And we have this point A. I'm going to use these 2 points because remember this point A lies on the yellow line as well. So the yellow line, we need the gradient. So let's do the gradient. We have 2 points, 5 and 3, and 3 and, so we have the A, which is 5 and 3. We have the O, which is 3 and 2. So I'm going to use this formula. This is the gradient. Let's call it for the circle line, for lack of a better word. And the formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's use, I'm going to use this as 2 and this as 1. Just going to make my sum neater. So that is a 3 minus 2 over 5 minus 3. So that's going to give me 1 over 2. So the gradient of that circle line is 1 over 2. So now we have the gradient over here, that is 1 over 2. Now keep in mind, we said because the line that goes through the center, that line is perpendicular to any tangent. So that means this line's gradient, which is a half, times the green line's gradient, that answer must be minus 1. So that means here on top, we have a half times, and if you do the math, you'll get minus 2. So a half times minus 2 give you minus 1. What does that mean? That means this minus 2 over here, that is now this gradient that we need for this tangent line. Say again, the middle line that goes through the circle, that touches a tangent, that gives a 90-degree angle, and the gradient of the one line times the gradient of the tangent will give you minus 1. So we worked out now the gradient of the middle line is a half, and if you times a half with minus 2, you'll get minus 1. So that means that minus 2, that is the gradient of this tangent over here. And remember, we need this gradient because we're still stuck on this point over here. And now we have the gradient of minus 2. So let's just move that, put minus 2 over there, times 5 plus c. And now you can see we have only one unknown. So which is 3 equals 10 plus c. And then c will be 3 minus 10. And c is equal to minus 7. Let me just see if I work that out right. So that's a 10. That's a 10, 3's there, sorry, that's minus 10. There, I made a mistake. So that's minus 2 times 5 is minus 10. So if it goes over, it's going to be plus 10. So this is going to be 13. So C is 13. So this line formula is going to be y equals m. M is minus 2x and C is 13. So now we have, that's this line over here. We have found the formula, and let's just write it properly. Just rub all of this out. So that is y equals to minus 2x plus 13. Now we are at the point where we have this green line and we have this b that is on this green line, and we already have one variable, which is the y0. And I'm going to put y into this, and I'm just going to do it on here. If you put y into this and you calculate this properly, and then at the end of the day, you'll get x equal to 6.5. So what does that mean? That means this x over here, that x is now 6.5. So b is 6.5 is the x and the y is 0. And remember what we said, if we have that b, which is now 6.5, let's remove that 3. And we have the c, which is 4. Now you just say 6.5 minus 4. To at the bottom, 6.5 minus 4 equals 2.5. And that 2.5 is the answer. You can just write the answer as units. 2.5 units. That is the length of this AB over here. So right, so that's it. That's what we had to do. And just summarize quickly again. When we started, we didn't have anything, only this point here and the circle. So I started to see if they gave us the tangent, and I know the point B is on the tangent. So I said, okay, if we have point B, we don't have point B, but if we have the formula of the line, then somehow we can, because we have that point, we can maneuver the formula and get to this point X over here. But just a big thing that we've included that is not in the sum is we've included, let's call it this invisible line, the middle line that goes through the center. That's why I use that other method to find the point of the center. And if we have the point of the center and we have this A, which is also part of this middle line, 2 points gives us this gradient of a half for the yellow line. And another method is if you have this yellow line times a tangent, the two gradients times each other, that gives you -1. Therefore, we could figure out the gradient of -2 for this green tangent. And because we had that 0.0, we could just substitute it in to get x, which was 6.5, and 6.5 minus 4 gave us a 2.5. Now at this stage, it's a lot of methods that is incorporated into this one sum. I just want to see how many marks. Yes, indeed, it's 8 marks. So it's actually a lot of marks for this, and that's why they have so many methods. So just another reminder to please go through all your theorems, all your methods, everything, because we just did one example now, and they could have asked it differently. What they could have asked, they could have given the center 3, 2. Then we had to calculate maybe find the function or the formula of the circle. They could have given this tangent formula y equals -2x plus 13. Then we had to find the a. So there's a lot of different ways they could have asked the sum. But like what I like to do is start from the end and work my way backwards to see what we need, what do we have, and how can we get to the answer. So thank you very much. I hope you have a good day further. Bye-bye.